Is there a need for a cut again this year from the ECB?
Well, it's still in the middle of the year, so we have plenty of data to get. We remain cautious and following all possible numbers and evaluations that we have from what's going on. We just got 2% inflation in June. That's precisely on target, so this is very good news for us. The economy in the first quarter also showed strengths in Europe. We need to see if it keeps that profile over the course of the year. That will be great news for us. I'm worried, if I may say it like that, with investment, because we need a pickup in investment in Europe to sustain precisely these growth rates that we want to achieve.
So, Governor, are you worried that you're not getting enough investment? Do you have the numbers that make you worry, or is this a worry in absolute because of the tariffs?
I mean, it's the profile for investment in the euro area is, of course, impacted by the cycle of monetary policy rates. So it's actually the variable that responds more forceful to an hike in interest rates. So it's understandable in that sense, but it's taking too long for it to recover. So of course, uncertainty doesn't help either. So, and we have been plagued with sources of uncertainty that also deter investment. So we need to move away from these, give certainty to investors. Trade deals will be great, but that's to the European Commission to discuss. And if something on that vein occurs, I think we will make it.
Governor, I mean, inflation is also very much impacted by currency. We spoke to Vice President de Guindos yesterday. He was saying, look, 120 for euro is problematic. Do you agree?
Well, I think it's we need to think about the exchange rate as a market outcome, and markets adjust if there is some development that it's not sustainable. I'm sure that will show up in the numbers. We need to think about the current number, the current perspectives for exchange rate as reflecting the strength of the euro, what's going on globally. We are also pushing a lot to increase the international role of the euro. That, of course, will bring more investors to Europe, will increase the interest in the euro. So that's good.
Governor, how do you think about interest rate cuts? Again, given where we think we are in the neutral rate, if you cut further, then it will become actually stimulative. I mean, should that be a concern given all of the uncertainties, the oil price, inflation, tariffs, and trade?
There's a range of estimates for the neutral. And neutral means that everything else is also in equilibrium, if I may say. This is kind of too technical, but it means that we are at our potential in terms of growth, that the labor market is also in equilibrium. We are not there yet in terms of growth. So for the system, for everything to be in equilibrium, then the neutral for interest rates would be an important concept. And we have a history in Europe of very low inflation.
Right.
And I did see the fundamentals for that to be changed as much as we can comfortably only sit at neutral. But this doesn't mean that we need to rush into that. We need to see data. We need to look at what are the developments. The second quarter figure for GDP will be very important because if it confirms the first quarter number, that is a story. If we go again to tumble a bit in terms of growth, that will raise concerns, in my view, about how sustainable will the 2% inflation be.
Governor, should we worry about the inflation numbers going down significantly?
That is precisely my point.
But you're worried about them going down more than going up?
Yes. That's actually also the profile for inflation in our forecast.
Yeah.
We will begin 26 with a low number. There are base effects on that, but it's also the recent history of Europe. It's not one of high inflation, high pressure on that. So we need to be cautious about it.
Governor, do you believe that actually the euro can play a much bigger role in this, challenged global dollar reserve currency like Christine Lagarde wants euro to play?
That's a long-term project that we actually start talking about it 5, 6, 7 years ago. It's natural to happen as the institutional environment of the euro strengthens, and it has been that the case for already 10 years, that Europe plays a more compatible role in the world with its history, with its reach to the global economy. So I think it really is important for us to work towards that goal, and we have been doing that. Mm-hmm. We have been strengthening the institutions in Europe. Also fiscally, we have been taking decisions that are really bold in terms of creating a union that is also fiscally more stronger and working together, so that's good.
Governor, when you look at the trade negotiations, mm-hmm. right? I mean, it'll all come to a crunch in the next couple of days. Does it alter the path basically for the economy in Europe? And so ultimately, does it also decide whether the euro can become a global reserve currency?
It will have a big impact in reducing uncertainty. That's having a deal there gives clarity to consumers, to investors, to firms, to producers. So that's the main goal of it. It was nothing that we were asking for to happen, but once we have to engage on that, so the best thing is to settle a deal and tell people, look, this is what we have to work
Will that happen? Do you think we'll have some kind of deal, or does it get pushed back?
I think it's important to have a deal. I mean, I'm not involved in the negotiations, so I'm not going to comment on that, neither put pressure on those that are at the table, because those are not easy negotiations anyway. But it is really important to reach a deal and to send that message. Look, this is what we have with us, so let's work with it. If it's important for the continuation of this process of Europe gaining more relevance internationally, I'm sure it is. Europe is a very, very open economy. It's actually the openest economy in the great economies, in the largest economies in the world. So more than China, more than the US. We developed ourselves in this global economy, and we don't want it to go back.
But Governor, very quickly, I mean, does it impact, again, what we know so far of the tariffs? And I know there's a delay in actually, some of the concern, I guess, being filtered in the data. Is it bad for growth, inflation? Like, what are the second round effects?
It certainly is bad for growth because it's a tax. And we know what taxes do to economies. I mean, we will have a smaller economy after tariffs than we used to have. So that's almost clear for everyone on the table. And for prices, it depends on the degree of retaliation that Europe has. It can be deflationary for Europe.
Governor, very quickly, your term is coming to an end very shortly. Will you serve a second term?
That's a decision that someone else has to take. I mean, I'm comfortable in my position, so let's see.
Okay, but if they offer, you take it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, Governor, for your time today.